Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we want to have a look at NIO's surge on a $1.9 billion injection from parent company investor. The NIO stock has jumped. It's no surprise here. It's really been doing great lately, and that's come as a shock to a lot of people. But we just want to break it down, get a proper understanding of what's really going on. Now, this is the most the NIO stock has increased in price in a number of months after unveiling a cash injection worth 13.3 billion wons, that's 1.9 billion US dollars, from existing shareholders. So this is the current price of the NIO stock. It is $7.21. That's quite an impressive price because not too long ago, this stock was literally around $3.70, $3.75, $3.80, and many didn't really think it would recover this quickly, this drastically. But if you've been looking at the NIO deliveries, then this will be no surprise to you. If you've been keeping up with the channel, keeping up with the stock, keeping up with the company that NIO's been creating, which is Onvo, and the new car that's the Onvo L60, the same car that's able to use NIO's naturally created infrastructure of swappable batteries, you would quickly realize just that the NIO cheap stock is just a temporary, temporary collision course event, but really and truly long term, it's a strong recovery. Let's go back to when this fall really starting to be more obvious. This was last year, in fact, December to be precise, which is when the stock was closing at like $9.43. So it seems like end of the year they really hit home, but towards the start of the year, you're looking at January and February, is where the stock literally fell off a cliff, literally falling to $8.50, $7.50, $6.50, $6 flat, to as low as $5.38. And then further on, for the entirety of this year, essentially for the entirety of this year, the stock has been below $7. So it hasn't. The last time it was at $7 was actually in January this year, which is crazy to think. And this is despite the company has been delivering as expected. In fact, beyond expectation, they've been delivering great numbers. But this surge in stock price really came not just because of investments the parent companies where the original investors are putting back into NIO, but also the improvements that they've made all throughout. The fact that they're bringing not just one new vehicle company to the company brands, which is Onvo, but they're also working on Firefly, codename Firefly. It's not the official name. And to see the reception that Onvo's out, the Onvo L60, to see the reception of how excited people are to get their hands on this $21,000 car in China, it's been beyond anyone's expectation. And rumor has it these things have sold out. Well, it's more than rumor. Alfonso confirmed it on Twitter, but he still hasn't wrote an official article on it with some evidence. I'm still looking out for that. But so NIO Inc. will directly invest an additional 10 billion wons of cash into the new shares of the unit. The transaction from all the parties will reduce the parent holding to 88.3 stake, down from 92.1. The strategic investors, along with other stakeholders, will hold the remaining 11.7, the company said. And here's a quote from Morgan Stanley. We believe this is a new investment will revolve around the company's fundraising debate, enhancing near-term cash flow. They also went on to say on a research note on Sunday, the investment from existing shareholders in NIO Chinese stock should further enhance NIO's balance sheet. So while China has invested heavily in EVs, intense domestic competition and overseas tariffs have muddied the sector's outlook. NIO has sought to gain a competitive edge with its charging network. You mean it's swapping, the battery swapping technology, the swapping stations. That's what you really mean to say. That's where they really will get a differentiation. What makes them different from Tesla, Polestar, Lotus? What makes them different from Li Auto, BYD? What makes them different from any other electric vehicle company? You can swap your battery in a matter of minutes. And in the European region, in the 5 markets that NIO is existing in, the NIO team have confirmed that the swap stations are actually accounting for 98% of customer customers' needs. So instead of people charging those vehicles, they just swap the battery. And why wouldn't you? Swapping batteries probably take 3, 4 minutes. Charging that battery probably takes half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, depending on the size of the battery, what charges are available, what's the available output. It revolves around so many things. So this charging station, well, really swapping network, is really important for NIO. And R&D spending on battery swapping technology and even non-auto areas like semiconductors, those are also essential for NIO future. Not just NIO, but electric car companies in general. These are key factor areas that are crucial. So the cash injection will be done in 2 installments and to be completed by the end of the year. In a statement, NIO Inc. NIO will have the right to invest an additional 20 billion wons to subscribe for more shares in NIO China by the end of next year, based on the same price and terms. Wow, so that's good. So it doesn't really seem that they're short in cash, does it? Or at least short in investment. When they're doing such a fantastic job, how can they be short in investors? With its cash burn triggering analysts concerned, the company, which has never been profitable, reported a 4.5 billion won loss from the second quarter, but quarterly sales surged 17.5 billion won, defying weakening demand and slightly higher than analysts expected. Slightly higher. Hefei, Jiang, and Anhui Provincial Emerging Industry Investments are affiliated with. The investors in the regions are familiar with NIO, having done a deal for $1 billion in 2020, which at the time alleviated concern that the company was running out of cash. In December, NIO stock struck a deal to receive $2.2 billion from Abu Dhabi-backed CYVN Holding LLC. So we're aware of some of these deals, especially the one from the Abu Dhabi firm, that in the last few years, NIO hasn't really been short on investment into the company. And that's a good thing because the constant criticism that they receive, it's sometimes really unfair and just unnecessary. So it's good to see other things taking place for the NIO company. So for anyone who bought the stock before the skyrocket 70% plus in the last month, for anyone who bought at the cheapest price that it recently was, you're incredibly lucky. And you're lucky for a number of reasons because, the last time NIO was at like $3 or $3.50, this was 2020. In fact, early 2020, early 2020. And even late 2019, stock was opening and closing around $1.50. That's only 5 years apart, five years apart roughly, give or take. Just take a look at how much have changed for NIO and for the electric vehicle market in general. Just look at how much have changed. And it will continue to change. 5 years from now, these platforms, these companies, they're going to look very much different. A lot of these companies, if anything, they're thinking about how can they increase productivity continentally. So not just in Asia, in China, but also how can they build and manufacture in Europe? How can they build and manufacture for the US market? These are critical market for a lot of these brands, and they want to exceed expectations in these markets. Now, just before we close out this video, I know everyone is celebrating, the Q3 numbers for NIO, but do not forget, we do have other competitors out there. We've got Tesla, we've got BYD. BYD, BYD is just doing expandingly well. I mean, in fact, this quarter, Q3 Chinese EV sales, this is what we're looking at. For BYD, this marks the first time that BYD EV sales exceeded 1 million units in a single quarter, up from 986,000 deliveries in Q2. That is crazy. So for Q3, BYD total sales were 1.13 million, up 37.3% versus last year. And it's up 15% versus Q2 this year. BYD is just doing the impossible. Truly, they're doing the impossible. I mean, over 1 million vehicles, EV vehicles, delivered in less than in one quarter. That's just, I don't even know how to put that into words. Now, can you expect NIO to do this someday? It depends on how you look at that. Is it NIO including Onvo and Firefly? Then I guess that's possible because Firefly and Onvo, they're really supposed to be the brands that you can sell as cheap as possible and sell as many as possible. while the NIO brand is supposed to remain prestigious. They're supposed to remain premium, not cheap, but not superly insane expensive. You know, they need to be at a comfortable distance. But let me know what you think about these numbers that BYD are bringing out. You know, it's absolutely incredible. Keep in mind, for Q4 last year, 2023, these are the numbers for BYD versus Tesla, you know, and BYD is on a continual incline. It's just climbing, 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 and it's not slowing down at a scary rate, which is why there is so many tariffs that are being introduced to slow down Chinese EVs. But I don't know if it's working. Guys, I don't know if it's working. BYD just sold over 1 million vehicles in one quarter, Q3. That's not even the final quarter of the year. The final quarter, which is Q4, is going to be even more insane. Now, let's just keep something in mind. You know, last year, BYD absolutely destroyed the EV market with how many vehicles they sold. Over 3 million. Over 3 million vehicles sold last year. So you can only imagine what they're going to do this year. And you know what's crazy? What's really scaring people is that this is how much they were delivering in 2020 and 2021. In 2021, well, in 2020, they delivered, you know, probably 200,000. In 2021, 600,000. 2022, 1.8 million. 2020, 2023, 3 million. So 2024, are we looking for 4 million or are we looking for 5 million? We'll see. So thank you for watching. Subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.